When I get on the mic, ain't no telling what I'm gonna do. Writing on my life, I'ma spill it right in front of you. About to take flight, ain't nobody in my rear view. Whole nother atmosphere, you'll never reach my altitude. Chasing down this revenue, smoke another dab or two. Always in my zone, y'all know, I'ma spit the truth. Never win the hate, no debate.
My name is Nathan Carter, and I'm the director and editor of the new music video, Oh Lord, by the artist Problematic. Now today, I want to go over a couple of the shots and how we were able to achieve the grade that we were able to get out of this music video. So let's jump into Resolve. So now this is the image that we were able to get straight out of camera. Now, first thing I did was I added some contrast and saturation, as you can see here on my curves, and with increasing all the RGB outputs. Now, I also had to take care of this blue kind of color cast that you can see over here. So we just do that with a simple adjustment in here, just taking it out of our lower end, so you can see the difference there. Now we add a couple extra little tweaks, and those are our basic corrections. Now, if you notice one thing, if we zoom in on his face, you'll see that it is quite blurry. And we were using old German vintage lenses. And they give a beautiful image, but unfortunately it is quite a bit more soft than what you're typically used to. So we're just gonna sharpen that up a little bit. And that's the basic corrections I would add to each of the clips. And now, going on to the grade, the overall kind of look of the music video, I wanted kind of a midnight blue, kind of a nice moonlight coming in through the side, just coming onto Greg's face there. So I'm gonna show you how I did that. I start off by the most important part is just grabbing Greg's skin tone, and I'm just adding a very slight amount of red just into the lower end, so just into basically the shadows in the lift. And you can barely notice that now, but it'll be important in a second. Just trust me on this one. So now in the actual look of it, what I'm doing, and I can just turn it on here, is I'm adding a lot of teal into the shadows and primarily throughout the whole image. And then I'm also adding a decent bit of blue into the shadows and then some green into the midtones and highlights. And we kind of get this nice blue look. But if you'll notice something, his skin tone, if we just switch between the two, it turns to a very kind of ugly and unnatural looking green, and it looks very unhealthy. So what we do is we grab that skin tone that we picked up before, and we're just gonna stick it on top of what we have here. So we're literally just taking this kind of skin tone and some of these colors here, and we're just sticking them on top of our grade to give us a bit healthier of a skin tone, a bit more natural of a look to everything. So now, this is looking pretty good. The only thing I want to do is I just want to direct the eye a little bit more. So we're just adding a little bit of vignetting on the side here, just with the power window. We're just adding a little bit of vignette just to direct your eye towards Greg in the center of the frame. And now the shot looks good, but we have to add the effects. So throughout this entire video, there is always an element of light rays because I really want these windows to stick out here. I find the stained glass is quite beautiful and it stays throughout the whole video. So I just added a light ray effect here and just kind of cranked that up, and it's not blending too much, but we really crank it up in the chorus of the music video. So it's just ever so slight, so it feels like it's part of the world. And then we just add a hint of red. So you can kind of see me turn it off and on here. Just a little hint of red through aperture diffraction, just to make it more believable when everything goes bananas in the chorus. And that's how I made the basic look for this music video. Now everything else is basically just that with some light tweaks here and there, but I do want to show you the monologue scene because it's probably one of my favorite shots in the whole video. So here's the shot straight out of camera. Now if we apply just our basic kind of grade here, that we used in the rest of the video, you'll see it looks pretty good, but we have a problem. The problem is that the window here is super bright in comparison to Greg. Now, I didn't want to lose much detail in this nice stained glass because I found it was a bit of a centerpiece for the entire video. So in a perfect world, we would have more light shining on Greg's face just to make him stand out a little bit. But with limited time and resources, we weren't able to make that work. So I figured I would try and tackle it in post. And here's kind of what I did. Now I'm just gonna take a window and we just draw it around Greg's face and we track it to his movement. So it follows on the whole way through. And what I'm gonna do in that window is I'm just gonna brighten things up a little bit. So if I turn it off, and then on again, you see it just adds a slight little bit of a brightening effect on him. And then I just doubled up and did that again with another window that's a little bit smaller here, still tracked onto his face. And I do that again, just a little bit brighter. And I'm also adding just a little bit more sharpening so his face stands out just a little bit more. So you can see if I turn that off and then on again, it's a little bit sharper, a little bit brighter, trying to bring out those eyes. Now, speaking of eyes, they don't stand out as much as I would like. So I also took another window, put it around his eyes, and then picked specifically just his eyes. So I'm just selecting his eyes with my HSL. So I'm just grabbing the blue of the eyes. And if you see when I turn it off and then on again, it just brings out that level of blue. So I'm just increasing the level of brightness and the saturation in his eyes so they draw you in just that little bit more. And then we add a little more of a heavy vignette than the other shots because I still feel like Greg is not standing out in the frame too much. So we just want to direct the eye a little bit more. So now that we're happy with our grade we have here, we're just going to go in and add some of our effects. Now I'm going to add the smoke on top of the clip, and there's just some digital smoke that I have that is in just about every shot, and it's just to keep my smoke levels consistent between shots because on set some shots were much foggier than others and we kind of got a little carried away with the levels of fog. And then we're also just adding our light rays here, and it's the same that we have in the rest of the scenes, except in the rest of the shots it's at about 70% blend, and now we're at about 30%. So it just gives that kind of otherworldly look, and it kind of acts as like a halo behind Greg, and I love the way it kind of goes around his ears, and it's really quite pretty. And then we just add a little bit of that red in, and then just the other two effects here that we use for those kind of transitional effects. But yeah, that's basically how I did it. So huge thanks to Oakar and Kevin for helping me out with this video, and the Kirk of St James for letting us use their beautiful space, and to Greg for trusting in me not to screw this up. So yeah, if you want to check out more content like this, I have plenty more breakdowns coming on the way. And if you want to check out some of my other work, go check out the Wrong Horse channel. And yeah, that pretty much does it. Okay, have a good one. Okay.